Shit.
Never say die, Cobra Kai.
All right, guys, final hour of the show, and in this hour, we are talking Cobra Kai Season 3 spoilers. We already had our Cobra Kai Season 3 non-spoiler review, so if you haven't seen it, go ahead and click off now. We don't want to ruin anything for you, and you can check out the review that we did for it instead, but fuck, this was awesome, dude.
Oh, man. Yeah, dude, like we already talked about how it continued the vibe and the sexiness from the first two seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And this is TV done right, ladies and gentlemen. Mm-hmm. TV done right. Yeah, it's on Netflix, but whatever. That's a little tiny thing. Okay, don't argue semantics with me. That's fucking done right. And I love the way that they're developing it. I love all of the backstory. I love the fleshed out characters, and the more we're getting to know them and why they are why they are. Especially this one. This season really focused on Kreese a lot. Well, not as much as, but the Kreese like backstory about the Vietnam stuff was fucking good. Like I was like, it like, again, throwing a wrinkle in, you think Kreese is a bastard that if you loan him $50, he'll never pay you back. And I know people like that, but closer than I should say. But, yeah, but it throws a wrinkle into him. Like, oh man, I get it. He's a war vet and he's seen some shit, Zed.
The fucking season was great. I actually didn't like the Kreese stuff that much, though. Like, as much as you were just saying that you liked it a lot, I didn't love it because by the way, the new Tommy Doyle is in this. The dude from fucking Weird Science. Yeah. And now he's got like this big badass persona. But the guy who's playing the new Tommy Doyle. But I don't know, man. Like, I was so into what they were doing with Cobra Kai that whenever they bounced back to the Kreese stuff in the army, I didn't hate it, but it did take me out of the stuff I was really invested in,
Well, I think I liked it because, again, like he was honestly, Kreese had a lot in common with Daniel LaRusso and William and Johnny in a lot of ways. That he was bullied, he was kind of made fun of, he was kind of a joker, not in a good way, but like a guy that like easy to pick on. And then he goes to Vietnam, and Vietnam changed him in a lot of ways, especially his asshole sensei.
Yeah.
And and made him into the prick that he is today. Because I mean, look what he had to do to survive.
Oh, hey, sorry, that's not Anthony Michael Hall. I fucked up. It looks just fucking like him though, doesn't it? I really thought that was Anthony Michael Hall.
I wasn't going to say anything. I wasn't sure, but I'm sure somebody was going to correct you, so I didn't know.
Fuck.
I didn't know.
I had no
idea. He looked like it. Yeah, he does look like him, though. But, yeah, like, I didn't mind it, though, because, again, when I talk about fleshing out the characters and throwing another wrinkle in, like, creating another gray zone, it does that really well. Like, because you're like, oh, well, he's a big bitch. Kreese is a big bitch. He's an asshole. Yeah. But there's a reason behind that. There's a reason why he's like that. And, and in some ways you're like, is it coming from a good place for him to continuously seek out Johnny and try to get Johnny back into the fold? Like maybe he really sees himself in Johnny and is like, man, I'm just trying to protect you. I know I come off as a hard ass, but let me tell you something. One day I'll buy you that N64 that you want for Christmas.
I think, dude, maybe and it could be the best thing that the show does, because it's kind of the theme of the whole show, right? Is like there's two sides to every story. Yeah. So, like, even though Kreese is a fucking disgusting human being, like, dude, like, people's lives are getting ruined. Kids are getting their backs broken. Like, this is obviously an awful, awful situation, and you're a piece of shit for instigating it. And he really does fucking instigate it. But it's probably the best thing that this show does as a whole, man. Like, when they tell Kreese's story, every character, every single, from Tori, even though Tori's a super fucking bitch, and she was gonna kill her with that thing. Every character there's two sides literally to every story. Even the worst bad guy you can imagine has a reason why they're that way. And that this show, I think, probably underratedly does a good job of showing that for every single character. And that's what the show's based off of, right? Because you thought Johnny was the bad guy, but now he's the good guy. That whole dichotomy.
Well, Bernie. Hey, Bernie, how you doing, man? Bernie Gambano says, actually, he's telling it right. He's like, the best part, the dynamic, was the Johnny-Miguel story. I love that. The Miguel-Johnny story has also been the backbone since season 1. In my opinion, I think it's been the backbone of the entire series, and I loved it, man. Who would have thought that Dee Snider can make you walk again with his music? Not me, not this guy, but he does. God damn it, he fucking does. I loved that whole thing. You know what it reminded me of, dude? It reminded me of like Kickboxer or something. Like, the wise old sage, but, introducing different techniques to make sure that Jean-Claude Van Damme's listen, you're going to get your nuts split before you can actually take on Tong Po.
Yeah.
You're going to have to go through hell, and I'm going to get you there. But then I'm also going to make you get drunk at a bar and then sick 2 guys on you and have you dance. Like, I love it, man. Like, I got to say, Cobra Kai, the writer and the creative team behind it are doing such a phenomenal job. They really are. And they are going in defiance against a lot of what people like the SJW bullshit, all that stuff. They're going in defiance of that, and they're bringing us back like some wholesome, awesome 90s like type of show. And I love it. And by the way, it's also showcasing a lot of badassery females in it. It's not just like guys. And you know, they're, you know, it's inclusive. It's not just one particular color or gender or anything like that. I love it, man. I think it's so good. And by the way, when you're watching it, universally, we're all having a good time. Dude, everybody's just having a good time.
Thank you. Yes, that's a fucking great way to put it, because not only does this show, like, really, honestly, like, if you wanted to look at this show from a whole different angle, which the show on its own is just, it's fucking awesome, Saved by the Bell karate fucking entertainment that's just amazing to watch. And it's inspiring, but it's also funny, and it's also interesting, and it's a soap opera, but it's also just, it's just fucking fascinating. But dude, not only does this movie kind of like slap the way the world's living in the face right now, because everybody in the world right now with the politics and with everything, everyone's like, oh, you're this side, you're a fucking racist. You're this side, you're a fucking snowflake. The whole idea of this show is that there are 2 sides to every story, that everything is not exactly what it seems. And just like you just said right there, there's a scene where what's the daughter's name? Danielson's daughter tries to go. She tries to go back to school after the whole thing, and she's having PTSD and she can't do it, and she runs back to Miyagi dojo. And then they have one of the side plot lines is this father-daughter relationship that they have, and she's like, you don't understand. She's like, it's not like it is for me. If you're a guy, you could just beat somebody's ass and you're cool. If you're a girl and you just beat somebody's ass, then you're a weirdo. And they do that in a way that nobody else seems to be able to do in 2020, 2021, where they're showing a different side of a human being without shoving it down your throat and telling you, and it doesn't feel placated. It doesn't feel like we're just trying to win over the female audience. That's a true thing. That's true. If a girl goes to beat somebody's ass, it's a completely different thing than if a guy does in school. And they managed to do that without ever seeming to take a fucking side or shitting on anybody. This show does that genius. Like, it's amazing.
Let me point out, thank you. I'll read this. Marco says, thank you, by the way, for your super chat. He says, Mike and Jay, and I was actually going to get there, but he beat me to it. The scene Daniel hears the last letter Mr. Miyagi wrote before he died, hands down, best scene they created. Man, I got to tell you what, I cried. I cried with Daniel's son. Yeah, dude. I cried with your Daniel's son. I did, man. That was so well put together, and it was really an emotional moment, and it showed. It showed just another layer of the character of Mr. Miyagi. I mean, we already knew that Mr. Miyagi through the Karate Kid movies did consider Daniel a son, but that really fleshed out. Again, I say flesh a lot. I guess I should play Pinhead. But he fleshed out like just how important Daniel was to him, and the fact that he considered him a true son, and that his daughter Samantha, thank you guys for pointing that out, was like his own granddaughter, and it brought him back, dude. Mm-hmm. And then that's also how Daniel reconnected to Mr. Miyagi. Like, dude, I thought it was so, like, unfortunately, Pat Morita didn't get to see this series because I think he would have been on board. I think they all, the cast has said he would have been on board. Yeah, it was really a moving, emotional moment. And again, it was done so well. And my dumbass, because it's 2020 and it was 2020 when we watched it. 2021, it's the 21st century. Everybody's a piece of shit now for themselves. I thought Daniel might fucking cheat on his wife or do something really nasty, with the chick from Karate Kid Part 2, and I can't remember her name. I'm sorry, but I thought that was going to happen. But really, what they did was like, no, it doesn't always have to be that way, Daniel's son. It could just be a friend from the past helping you reconnect to something you need now. Which I get, fucking genius. I'm glad they went that way.
They did it twice with Daniel, dude. They not only had the girl from Japan, which so like that storyline was great. Like, it was great. I loved it. I'm not trying to shit on it, but I gotta say, the fact that he could just show up there and just like walk up to like a KFC, and the little girl that he saved just happens to be there in the middle of this gigantic country is a little fucking crazy, right? Like, I mean, I was like, come on, like he walks up to a fucking Target and she's doing her show with her kids. I was like, that's unbelievable.
You run into people from high school all the time sometimes. It happens.
Not fucking.
Oh yeah, I went to Target. I saw fucking 3 of them.
But that was a stretch. But that's typical. That's typical movie stuff. That's fine. I don't care. But that was. Dude, they put Daniel in that situation twice. Not only did you think that maybe there was something going on with him with her, like maybe he's going to cheat on his wife, but then the whole Allie subplot happened. And you were like, when he sees Allie, you could see he was like, man, I want to stick around and party. You know what I mean? But she was like, hey, she was cool. He was cool. It's like, you know, like they were respectful, but you could see those old flames rise up in Daniel's son several times in this series.
Yeah, I thought Daniel might be like talking to Allie with an eye and be like, hey, I took French in high school. It's like, yeah, I was like, you ever heard of Menage a Trois? But yeah, I was thinking that too. Like he did seem, it was kind of weird and it's kind of awkward and it's kind of uncomfortable, but they pulled it off really well, especially when he meets Allie with an eye at the party and Johnny's there. And it's actually a role reversal because if you'll remember in Karate Kid Part 1, it was Daniel that showed up and caught Johnny with his girl that he thought, you know, at this elite country club.
Yeah.
And they even kind of point that out when Johnny's wearing the white tux and he's like, goes, this is a white jacket, man. Don't be walking around with no pasta. And, like that happened to Daniel, man. I loved it. But yeah, dude, the scene with the Mr. Miyagi reconnect, it was great. And it really kind of reminds me of, and I know it's not the same thing, but it kind of is. It kind of reminds me of a Star Wars, like, you know, just, you know, reconnecting with an old master and hearing him from the past through the words.
Yeah.
And like, I would have, I'm not saying, I think it might have, not that it would have been disrespectful, but nobody can pull it off like Pat Morita, but having somebody being able to, if you'd heard the voice of Pat Morita or somebody like that reading the letter as a narrative,
yeah,
it might have been even more impactful. But dude, what a great moment.
I got to go to the chat here on this one because people got some fucking hilarious takes on this. Let's see. Iron Wolf says, I thought Johnny was going to cheat. We all did. When Johnny takes Allie out on the date and like they're about to kiss, we all thought, fuck Johnny. Like, cause you go back to season 2 where he meets this girl who's like perfect for him. And she's like, yeah, I like all this shit too. Like fucking Coors Banquet, dude. Fuck yeah. And then he's like, I gotta go because Miguel's mom, his boyfriend was doing some dumb shit. Yeah. You're thinking Johnny's definitely going to fuck this up again. And like, you're like, God, you're going to fuck it up. But he doesn't. But it was funny to see because the Sting says Allie didn't want any more of Daniel. She was all about Johnny's dick,
well,
which I think she was.
Well, thinking about Johnny is, you know, I guess this is where we're kind of weird. I don't know. Johnny fucked her. Johnny, you fucked her. He fucked Miguel's mom, but at the same time, was he really like chained down? Not really. I mean, they weren't in like an exclusive relationship. Johnny's like former love had just shown up. I mean, in a way, and I'm not defending this action one way or the other.
We're on a break.
It's like, bro, what you doing, bro? Like, did you get the message? Get the net. But I'm just saying, like, technically speaking, Miguel's mom told him to go fuck off in the hospital and said, I don't want nothing to do with you. They wound up having like makeup sex, and that's great and that's wonderful, and it felt good. It felt good in the vagina. But at the same time, Allie with an eye, that was his girl that he's always like sought after for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm going with that route. I'm not saying that Johnny should, you know, get with Allie with an eye, but I mean, if he had done it, you can't say he's cheating, right? You can't really say he's cheating because he didn't technically date her.
I don't think technically he's cheating. I just think if he had done it, then you would see the subplot coming from a million miles away. He would end up caught with her by her, and you'd be like, like people accuse this show of being a soap opera sometimes, and it is, but I think in the best of ways. But yeah, and then says, I thought Daniel's wife was going to cheat on. Someone said, where was it? Because this made me fucking laugh. Oh yeah, Stephanie Kyle says, I think Daniel's wife would have been down too, because when they're at that table, like Daniel's wife seemed like she was into it too, and it was like, oh damn,
she was like,
if this is a different show, dude, if this was a different fucking show, you could have had like the weirdest, steamiest threesome you've ever seen in your fucking life, or maybe even foursome.
My rewind button would have broke.
I'm
just, you know, but she was kind of digging Allie with an eye, and like that doesn't happen in real life unless that
he's
girl
got a cool wife, man. He's got a cool wife.
Well, his wife is cool, or unless she's DTF with that chick. because like they were drinking a little bit, and then she got a lot more comfortable with her, and then she's like, "Hey, that's Elizabeth Shue. She's kind of cute still."
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna go this route, but I felt bad for Johnny sitting there, and he's like, "Man, this is fucking bullshit, dude." like,
well, I felt bad for Daniel's son too, because like he couldn't even like he wanted to make a move, but he couldn't. I mean, he's married, so he's like, he was like, I literally have to give her to you, even though I don't want to give anything to you. You know.
I mean, I don't feel bad for him. He's got like a business that's booming. He's got like a great girl. But I mean, I felt bad for situation. I felt like Johnny was like that guy. He's like, man, like, come on, man, fuck you. He's like, can you ease the fuck up? Can you ease the fuck up with your flirtatious shit? Like, I thought Johnny was gonna take it out and beat the shit out of it.
I'm like, if you're me, you'd be like, hey man, look at me, I need this.
Yeah, he's like, let me have it one time. Like, goddamn. He's like, I broke her fucking radio in high school. You don't need to keep stepping on my nuts here. But yeah, man, it was a great scene. But there's I don't. There's so many good moments. Like one of my favorite in this season is I love that Johnny started his own dojo. Eagle what was it? Eagle Fang. I think that's the name of the dojo that he started. It's like he's like, they don't even have fangs like this one does. I love it, and like I love that he started his own dojo. I remember when season 2 ended, a lot of theories were going around, and I was like, all right, well, what's going to happen is either Johnny's going to take back over Cobra Kai, and then it's going to be a different kind of like situation with Kreese, and then he's going to have an all Valley tournament against Daniel's group, Miyagi-Do again.
Yeah.
But I really thought in season 3, what I really thought was Mike Barnes was going to show back up, and he have his own karate dojo, like a 3-way kind of dojo. But it wound up being Johnny.
Yeah.
I thought but it wound up being Johnny, and that, like, I had thought about that before too. But I'd also thought that they were going to join forces, and that was cool too to see Eagle Fang and Miyagi-Do join forces to take down Cobra Kai at the end.
That was so fucking cool, man. That was amazing. And I love the fact that Johnny just walked into school. Johnny walked right up to Hawk and all that, but he's like, quiet! He just like, he just walked in. He's like, you want to be pussies, or you want to fucking take this guy down, or whatever. And one of the only things I didn't like is that final penultimate scene, which is a cool fight scene or whatever, because they show up at Danielson's house. But Hawk, out of nowhere, dude, it was just like completely fucking out of nowhere. Hawk is like, he's always been hard fucking core, and then for no reason, like on a snapshot, right? So he looks around, he sees people fighting, he goes, you know what? Fuck Cobra Kai. I'm all about Eagle Thing. I think that turn happened too quick. I think they could have done that a different way, but still yet, I love Hawk so much, and he's such a douchey character when he's a bad guy. I was really pumped to see him take Johnny's side again.
I rubbed it in April's face a little bit because she hates fucking Hawk. So we were watching it, and then when he had that hero moment, I'm like, what happened? What happened? I thought he was a bastard. What happened? Because I like Hawk too. I like him quite a bit. And I was like, as far as like the best arc in the story, he's not the best arc, but he's one of the best arcs. Like he comes from, he has the problem with this, the lip, and then flips the script and becomes like the badass of Cobra Kai. I think it was a little fast, but I don't think he was joining Eagle Thing. I think he was just defending his friend and had done something that had been a long time coming, because he's always been, the camera would focus on him, and especially when the arm break happened this season, like he was just like, oh fuck man, I shouldn't have done that. Like he's always like had that moment where he's like, I'm going down the wrong path and I need to get back on the right path. And I was glad to see it. It was a cool scene.
Hey, it's a good point you could be a force for good or a force for evil, and either way you could be a fucking badass, so you better choose the right way. Maxima Mac, thank you for the super chat, says chosen honking Daniel's nose when Daniel thought he was going to kill him was the best part.
That was so good, man.
Shit was funny,
that was so good. I love that. I wish they had interposed like the moment where Daniel did that to him. Like right when he was doing it, they showed like a flashback of Daniel doing it to him at the end of Karate Kid Part 2.
Yeah.
It's like, live or die, man. It's like, die. And then boom. But yeah, it was so good. Man, there's so many great moments in the season. And like the fight sequence on season, I still think that season 2, the ending, the season 2 is probably the best. But I mean, there was nothing wrong with this season as far as like not being as like elevated as that last episode of season 2. My brother had just been watching, he'd been binging it, and he was texting Mike and I, and he was talking about like he was like, well, dude, I think this is kind of slow because they're all moping around and nothing's really happening, because they had such a like pedal to the metal flavor in season 1 to season 2 that you're like, all right, well, I thought it was gonna be like this, clickety clickety. Let's get in there. Let's find out what's happening. Who's got the jelly and the petroleum? But it didn't happen. They have to take time, slow down a little bit, and but there's nothing wrong with it, man. I like the backstories. I like what they're doing right now, and it was great.
I think episode 2 was definitely my favorite episode when Daniel-san and Johnny team up, and Johnny's still hungover. And first off, when Johnny breaks into the hospital and they're trying to keep, he has to do the Jim Carrey liar thing where he breaks his nose just to see Miguel. And Miguel's in his own head fighting his tournament. I thought that was really touching when he was like, hey, man, I know I'm not supposed to be here, but don't give up. You can't give up. And just hearing his sensei's words turns him around. And then the whole thing where Johnny helps him get back. I love that. I love that so fucking much. But I thought it was hilarious when Johnny was in the hospital, dude, and they were like, hey, actually, we need to keep you. You got some piss in your blood. He's like, oh, don't worry about that. That happens. I got my ass kicked in a parking lot a few weeks ago. He's like, but this is bothering me. And like his whole fucking side's gone. And then there was some, like, as sad as Johnny was in the beginning of this, he had some of his best moments. Not only when he's looking for Robby with Daniel, is he's so fucking hungover, and he like turns up the music, and Daniel's like, hey, man, we're trying to be serious. Like, turn it down. He's like, hey, man, it's not a fucking funeral. Like, just because I'm hungover doesn't mean we can't listen to some tunes. That shit was funny.
I love Johnny so much, man. I love Johnny. Like, I think one of the best parts of the season, honestly, and it was maybe a throwaway scene, but dude, I laugh at it every time I think of it, is when he takes his shit into the pawn shop again, and he has his computer, and he's like, hey, man, I want to sell this computer back to you. He's like, why would I buy something that was used from you that's now more used? He was like, look, it just needs some juice, man. And he was like, have you tried plugging it up? He was like, what the hell, man? You told me it was wireless. I love that Johnny is so disconnected from the 21st century and just really generally the latter half of the 20th century. I love that, man, because like, I don't know, like, he's so relatable in that regard. I don't know how a lot of shit works on the internet anyway, and I'm like, dude, I get that, like, because it's like, and one of the other moments when he's writing Allie with an I and he's writing a fucking novel, I've done that before on text messages. Like, that's why I don't fucking do it. And Mike and my brother and stuff, like, dude, are you, because I'll send like like sometimes my text, like, they're like 4 pages long. It's like, why are you doing that? Because it's like, dude, a lot has happened. I have to talk about everything. And that's what he was saying, man. It's so relatable. I love Johnny so much, man. But yeah, I love those parts too.
Wild Man Beyond says the quintessential season for sure. Allie was the cherry on top. Would agree with that. I think this was a great season. Season 2 is still my favorite of all 3, but it was great. Wild Man Beyond also says Robby is the Anakin of this franchise, and that brings up a perfect thing that we haven't talked about yet, which is Robby. He gets on my fucking nerves. Like, stop with the sourpuss face. I completely understand where he's coming from, but he still gets on my fucking nerves because, like, Johnny's trying so fucking hard, and it's just an impossible situation. And then you got all that stuff with him getting his ass kicked in juvie or wherever he is. And all that stuff.
I thought that the dude that he was getting into a fight with in juvie was going to be like his best friend. I thought the jail scene was going to go for a little longer, but that guy was going to be like one of his, like, that Robby would start doing the karate thing in jail, and then the other dude would like start joining him.
What if you get to like a Avengers moment and like Robby joins his dad and they're all getting his ass kicked, and then he's like, but wait, I brought friends, and then the fucking jail kids show up and like that big dude just goes out and starts fucking up the Cobra Kais. That'd be funny as shit.
Look, you know what? But I do agree that James Morrison. The reason why I was gonna say James Marston. Robby reminds me of James Marston from Disturbing Behavior in a lot of ways. Like, he looks like James Marston for some reason. But yeah, I like, he is Anakin in a lot of ways, the angry teen that nobody really pays attention to, and I'm po-folk, and I've been doing my best, but people keep on shitting in my mouth. What am I supposed to do? Oh, I'm gonna go to Kreese. I don't know why I sound Italiano, but he's kind of annoying in that regard. But again, he's such like an understandable character. Like, Johnny is like, look, Johnny's different now, but Johnny was a piece of garbage. Like, he was a piece of trash, dude. He was a drunk asshole that couldn't hold a job down, that was more concerned with what happened in the past rather than what's happening in the present.
And he wasn't there for his kid. No matter what the excuse is, you got to be there for your fucking kids.
Yeah, and he admitted that much, that he was a shitty father. So yeah, he's getting the hate that he deserves. He's trying his best, but that doesn't mean it happens overnight. Yeah. But the Robby character, I do think that it's getting a little tiresome. It's getting a little boorish because, look, even if he's not interested in what Johnny's preaching, he has Daniel, and Daniel seems to be the force for good for him in a lot of ways, and he has tried to be there. you wouldn't like to me, like he goes to Kreese, and yes, Kreese is a very good manipulator and can bend events around in such a way that you would be able to recruit him. But I just don't think that Robby would really, I mean, honestly, I don't know. He'd be like, yeah, you're a kind of old man weirdo that's coming in on my father's behalf and trying to recruit me to the Cobra Kai. It kind of seems weird.
You would think he would be more against Kreese than fucking anybody.
I feel like Robby would be the guy, like he would be more like Daniel LaRusso in the original Karate Kid and go off on his own, like he did in the first season. Yeah, like where he didn't have but you know, I guess they're saying like they don't want to repeat what they did in season 1. But I feel like Robby would be that guy now more than he ever has been, because like he doesn't trust anybody.
Yeah, dude. Like I think like for some fuck, I think it's just something with the, you know, I hate it so much that he went to Kreese, but it's one of those things you really got to put yourself in the character's shoes and be like, man, like he hates his dad, and some of that's for good reason. And like, even though we all love Johnny, that probably makes it worse that other people love Johnny so much. It probably makes Robby hate him more. It's like, you guys don't understand what he did to me when I was a kid. Ray Gunner says the fact that Robby not once the entire season asked about Miguel or shown any remorse seals the deal for me that he's a piece of shit. That's another thing too. But you got to understand at the same time, like Robby you're talking about a guy who made out with his girlfriend, who did treat him like shit, and who was trying to fucking kick his ass, and he accidentally kicked him off. That's why the show's so great. There's just a huge fucking gray area. Like, you can really understand where every single character's coming from.
It really is like, who are you down for? NWO Original or NWO Wolfpack? Who the fuck you got? But also, here's the thing. Yeah, Robby, I don't hate Robby's character. I really don't. I'm just not as interested in Robby's character as I should be. And I think that's maybe because there's not a catalyst behind it that makes me as interested in the other stories that are going on. The Miguel story, I'm very interested in, especially now that Daniel set him straight. Like, no, this is actually what happened between Johnny and I. Like, you heard one side of it. Now I'm going to tell you the actual side, or as far as I'm concerned, now he's got that information. I like that because Miguel is a lot like Daniel LaRusso. In 100, like they're literally carbon copies of each other as far as what they've been through, where they live, what they've done. And I feel like 100%, if you were going to remake the Karate Kid, you would cast that kid and his name would be fucking Daniel. And I could see it. Robby is not a bad character. I just feel like you know what? And look, I know that a lot of people have mentioned it in the chat, Terry Silver, and they were like, yeah, that's who, you know, Kreese was on the phone with. They were like, you know, I saw this, and then she was like, you know, he was on the phone with, yes, it's Terry Silver from Karate Kid Part 3. If they're going to get him in, that'd be awesome. I would have thought it'd be cool, though, if Terry Silver or Mike Barnes had become the guy that Robby met after he got out of jail, and like they had a kind of a heart-to-heart or a one-on-one or something, and then that would have been his sensei going into the All Valley tournament. Yeah. Like, he'd be on his own, but it'd be Mike Barnes from Karate Kid Part 3 or Terry Silver.
Mm-hmm. Well, it would have been an interesting way to go with it. It's crazy how they tie this all together. Like, so like you, as you mentioned, Kreese is on the phone at the end of the thing. Let's talk about the last episode as a whole. That big fight scene. It was actually my favorite ending of all three. I know you like season 2. Season 2 had a great choreographed fight scene. I thought it was all crazy and it was cool and stuff. My season 3's ending was my favorite ending because you actually got to see Daniel fucking straight up fighting against Kreese. You got to see Johnny straight up fighting against Kreese. And it was even though you understand so much, so that's why I think Robby's in a way is the heel here, because even though if you stop and you just think for a second, you totally get where Robby's coming from. But while you're watching the show, when you know Johnny's intentions are good, so you're watching him try to be good to his son, and like, you went to this fucking guy, and it seems like Robby just tries to go to any guy he can to throw it in fucking Johnny's face. Like, oh, this is my new dad. This is my new fucking dad. And then when he goes to Kreese, it's like the biggest slap in the face that Johnny could fucking ever take in his entire life. And like that, when Johnny and Kreese are fighting and that great scene's happening, whenever fucking Robby would show up and like fight his own dad, I'd get so fucking pissed at him. Like, I'm like, God damn you son of a bitch.
That's your father. Pay respect.
But it's so good to do. But you finally got to see fuck all the kid shit. Like, I like it. It's good storylines. It's all great. I care about Miguel. I care about all these kids. It's all great. But you actually got to see a fucking fight, finally, between Daniel, Johnny, and Kreese. And it was fucking gnarly, dude.
Well, you know what? I think that what I think a lot of people have wanted for a while. And I don't know, maybe at the end of season 4, I can kind of see it happening that way. Much like we got the ending in Rocky 3, Johnny and Daniel fighting each other, and then they're like ding, ding, and then they kind of circle each other, and then it goes to black. Maybe so, because I think that's what they want to see. Johnny and Daniel have a rematch. They want to see that, especially now that Johnny's learned a lot more about what he can do versus what he did know back then. But yeah, the Kreese fight between the three of them, that three-way fight was really cool. Robbie's just got an annoying face. That's the problem. When you see Robby, you're like, he just looks like he smelled a fart. And that he's gonna blame it on somebody else, and he looks like a bully. I mean, honestly, and I hate to say that, but he does. He kind of looks like a guy that would put gum in your hair on the bleachers at 6th grade in the morning. He's like, I don't put gum in your hair and then fart in your mouth.
It's just the truth.
And then he's constantly blaming Johnny for everything, which I mean, he does have a reason to. He hates Johnny, and I get that. But the fact that he continuously goes out to people that he knows that his dad hates. Yeah. And I'm not saying he knows all the time that he hates him, but he knows that he's had a problem with
And if I was in his position, I may do the same thing. Maybe we all would.
The fact that he goes to the Kreese, I mean, I know that he talked about Kreese, and I know he talked about Daniel. And he goes to these people, and he's like, that's right. He's going to teach me things you've never thought about before. Like, bitch, you ain't going to get no more gift cards. I'm never going to take you on a, in your case, dad-daughter date.
But we as the audience have the privilege of seeing all the things Johnny's been doing to try to become a better man. Robby hasn't. So that's why, like, it's kind of hard to,
that's what really I mentioned earlier. The fact that, we know that Johnny's actually a piece of shit. In a lot of ways. I mean, he is. I mean, you don't get to see those moments that he abandoned his kid. If you want to talk about Johnny as a good guy, Johnny is a funny guy. He's relatable in a lot of ways, but he wasn't always this way. At the very beginning of episode 1, you see what kind of loser he was. He didn't give a shit. He lived in a rundown apartment. He drank all the time. He didn't give a shit that he had a son or he had an ex-wife. He didn't care about any of these things. And that's really the reality of what Johnny is. Johnny's trying to make up for that, but here's the thing. You can't do that in 2 years and expect that your son that you've abandoned his entire life to immediately like embrace you in a Field of Dreams hug. Yeah. But I just feel like Robby, the character, like you can't keep... And that's the only thing I'm going to negatively say against the show. You can't keep digging in constantly with this character. Like you got to go somewhere else. Like you got to have some kind of other motive behind Robby and what he's doing than just, I hate my dad and fuck life. Let me listen to some POD and set up my room. And
I see what you're saying. Like it's a little bit, maybe it's time to move on. Maybe push that character arc a little bit forward. That's always
in a way. And I'm not saying that they should abandon it. But I mean, I'd rather focus on Miguel.
Yeah, I see exactly what you're saying, man. Mercurio80, thanks, buddy. He says, seeing Kumiko and Allie again was awesome, and the actor that plays Robby has a young John Travolta and Robbie Benson look. I can see that. Kumiko was great, by the way. My favorite part of that whole thing was when, like, LaRusso's like, you're going to leave me alone with this guy? He's like, hey, man, let me get you something to drink. And he's like, I don't drink. I'll have water.
That shit was fun.
No, dude. I'll get you a drink.
By the way, Kumiko still looked good.
Yeah, dude. I thought he looked great.
Like, they all look good. Yeah, man. I like that whole scene, that sequence. I think that what's going to happen is that Chosen Chosen's going to come over in season 4.
Oh yeah, dude. Because he has to help against the fucking new. To
help against Cobra Kai. I think he's going to come over to help him. And then, and here's the thing: what I'm holding out hope for, and I know people have kind of jokingly said, "What if this happens?" I think it'd be so cool, man. I think it'd be such a completionist kind of Karate Kid saga at some point in season 4 or season 5. Obviously, I want Terry Silver to be back and I want Mike Barnes, but to get Hilary Swank to come back. She was the last student of Mr. Miyagi in Karate Kid Part 4, to have her show up on either a cameo appearance in the All Valley tournament or actually show up and help along with Chosen, Johnny and Daniel fight against Cobra Kai. I think that would be cool, dude. That would be all Miyagi students other than Johnny and Chosen in one house. I think that would be cool.
What I'm really hoping for is that Will Smith's son can finally show up and just bring this baby fucking home.
And then
you know what I mean?
Jackie Chan super cops it in.
I'm kidding. But no, I agree. Dude, Hillary Swank's showing up. I think it's inevitable happen. Inevitable.
I don't know what she's doing now, but I mean, I'm not saying that she's not still a popular actress. I'm just saying I've not seen her in shit in a long time.
I think the show's so fucking good that as an actor, if you're watching it, you gotta fucking be like, yeah, I'll come back. Splash God, thank you for the super chat. Says Robby almost killed Miguel and tried to fight him again. Sam had to push him. Like, damn, can you say sorry to Miguel? Really, they can kill Robby already. I get that, but again, it's the gray areas of the show, and people want to fucking push the show aside, like, oh, it's a soap opera. It's a soap opera in the best of ways, but it's way better than a soap opera because there are so many fucking layers to it. And here's why: because like, if you gotta understand, like, I know that Robby fucking kicked Miguel and almost ended his life. But what you gotta understand is Miguel was trying to fucking fuck Robby up really bad, and he only at the last second turned around. Robby shows up. He's been to fucking jail. He's gone, or man, I don't know, he hasn't been to jail yet, but he's gone through all this shit. He shows up, and all of his worst fears are confirmed. Robby trusted Sam. Even though people were saying she made out with Miguel at that fucking party, Robby still trusted her. And he still said, you don't know what you're talking about. She wouldn't have done that. Mid-fight, he stood up for her. He's like, she wouldn't have done that. Robby was trying to do the fucking right thing, and then all of a sudden Miguel shows up, starts attacking him, and then once he finally sees her again, they're cutesy hugging and making out, and he's thinking, my life has been fucking ruined. I'm hunted by the goddamn police. My fucking whole life is in shambles, and I show up here to the one friend I think I have, and every single thing I defended you for, you're fucking out here in this backyard doing right now with this kid.
I get it, man. And I would have been, it's an act of passion, but at the same time, I would tell Robby, stop breaking the law, asshole!
Get in the fucking Dodge Caravan and move the
Robby,
fuck on, dude. Get out of
Robby
here.
did break the law. Robby knocked the fucking guy off the fucking railing.
But he didn't mean to fucking do that.
Yeah, but either way. And
that could have happened to anybody in that fight, man. Anybody in that fight.
He's also a fugitive. He ran away. He needs to go to jail. He's a fugitive. And that's what he is. He's breaking the law. And and here's the thing: you just knocked the fucking guy off. He's walking again. I'm not saying it's okay for what he's doing, but I'm not gonna the guy's fucking limping. He's not all there. I'm not gonna try to fucking fight him.
Look, dude. Okay. So a guy makes out with your girlfriend. You get in a fist fight. The guy is trying to beat you. The guy initiates the fist fight. He's after making out with your girlfriend. He's trying to kick your ass. You accidentally severely hurt him. Okay. Accidentally severely hurt him. Didn't mean to do it. He was trying to fight you.
But he said he was sorry too. He said he was trying to let go. Like he basically said that at the end of season 2.
Yeah, but man, human beings can only ask to fucking put up with so much.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's like let go of your swelled penis. Like you don't have to prove anything.
I think a lot of us would have kicked. Look, I don't think he meant to hurt him, and I don't think any of us would have. But I think there's a lot of us would have fucking kicked that kid too. Not maybe not meant to kick him off the stairwell, and I don't think Robby did either. But a lot of us would have fucking got pissed.
Well, I don't like to fight. So if somebody was like, "I'm sorry, man," I'm like, "All right." I mean, all right. I don't want to fight either. This is stupid. I don't want to get expelled.
Robby gets on my nerves sometimes, but honestly, I see exactly where the fuck the kid's coming from. I really do. That's all I'm saying. Marco,
I just think the whole idea is you're basically you're trying to fight a fucking just come back crippled kid. I mean, what kind of piece of shit are you? You're a skank. I know he's making out with your girl and shit, and that sucks. But I mean, I've seen Dear John. I mean, what's his name? Fucking Channing Tatum didn't beat up that guy on the wheelchair.
I don't think it matters, dude. If you find somebody making out with your girlfriend after all the shit you've been through, you're gonna want to punch him in the fucking face.
Well, it's true, but at the same time, that guy was a fucking criminal. It's like one guy that we know coming back from high school to be like, "Hey, that's my girl, dog. That's my girl from high school." Like, yeah, it was.
It's a hard. That's why it's such a great show. Marco Villatoro, thanks, buddy. Says, can we address the other elephant in the room with Mr. Miyagi having some secrecy about the moves he didn't teach Daniel, which came in handy at the end?
I did like that. But I like the fact that Mr. Miyagi held it back because there was no reason to teach. Even Chosen says that there was no reason to teach him because you're not really in a life or death situation. I did like that. I thought it was a pretty good a writing technique to show that Mr. Miyagi always said to Daniel, even in the Karate Kid trilogy, that karate was about defense, not attack. So why would he teach Daniel that shit? Mike, you're muted.
Yes, I was muted.
I thought you were cursing me out on Jerry Springer.
You motherfucker! You don't you ever go over my head again?
That's something about my motherfucking mother one fucking time ever.
I think, but them going all the way back, like I think the show realized, and that's why the writers are so great. They realized they needed to go way, way back and just give a little nugget of the old Miyagi style, and I think that was just a nice touch, man. It was perfect.
Do you think that that move was used in season 3? So do you think it sets it up for like in season 4 that they're gonna teach that move in the Miyagi Fang?
He used it at the end. He used it against Kreese.
But you think that it's gonna be used as the tournament winner type of crane kick in the All Valley tournament in season 4?
Could be. I liked how I think if they don't, they don't, but they did it in a great way with that infight when Kreese is fucking him up and then Daniel like strikes him with that new shit, that new, and then Kreese is like, I can't move my fucking arms. Like, what did you do? Like, that was fucking cool, man. That was awesome.
I'll tell you what, man. Honestly, like I love the Mandalorian. I love the Mandalorian. But Cobra Kai, dude, honestly, right now I'm looking at it. The Sopranos is the #1 TV show. Cobra Kai is #2 for me. It just is. It's such great TV.
I'm on the exact same fucking level, man. My favorite TV shows of all time are now as follows: fucking The Sopranos, Breaking Bad, Cobra Kai's in there, Rescue Me, very fucking underrated. Rescue Me's in there. Fucking amazing show, man. Wild Man Beyond says, I want Johnny and Mike Barnes to go at it to see who's the real better man in Cobra Kai. Mike Barnes,
that's what I want to see.
Your Cobra Kai is a joke, Lawrence.
Hey, dude, the thing about I saw an interview with the guy that played Mike Barnes. I don't know what I'm sorry, I don't remember what YouTube channel I watched it on, but he had mentioned that they wanted a guy that would intimidate Daniel LaRusso or actually just intimidate Ralph Macchio, and he was the guy that they picked. The thing about him though is they asked him in the interview, they said, do you think that you and Johnny would have been friends in high school, you know, if it had happened that way? And he was like, probably not, because he's like, here's the thing about Mike Barnes versus Johnny Lawrence. Johnny Lawrence was a rich kid. He came from a rich, you know, area, and he was a country club guy that knew karate moves. Mike Barnes is more of a solo type of dude that does destruction when he's paid for it. So he was like, he's like, the character of Mike Barnes probably wouldn't have got along with Johnny at all. They wouldn't have been teammates. They would have been like, he'd be like, you're stepping on my shit. I only fucking fuck you up if they pay me enough.
Yeah.
And like Johnny's more about like, you know, he wants to do it because he's a, you know, kind of a bully in a lot of ways. But yeah, dude, to see Johnny Lawrence and Mike Barnes battle it out, I would love to see that just as much as I would see Daniel and Johnny.
Man, fuck, the show needs that. Like, that would, how cool. Like, and the more and more we talk about this, like we talked about this last time, and I was like, I think maybe the show has 2 seasons left because eventually you're going to go too hardcore. When you get to a point with shows like this where, like, okay, this character has been through an excruciating amount of shit, and he's overcome it, and he's overcome it, and he's overcome it. You can't keep putting the same people through shit over and over and over again. Eventually, it turns into like a joke of itself, you know? But what I think actually more and more we talk about this, more and more I think this could go a season or 2 further than maybe 4 more seasons. I don't know. Because what I would love to see is Johnny, for some fucking reason, have to be the main fight. Because I think we can all admit Johnny's our favorite character of the whole fucking show, man. Yeah. I think he's the best character in the show. So I think if you have a whole season leading up to a fight at the end of the season with Johnny versus whether it's Kreese in a tournament or it's whatever, however you do that, if you have Johnny as the guy who has to fight the whole last episode, it's not all the kids, it's not all that shit, it's Johnny one-on-one against somebody, man, I think that's going to really pull the old Lionheart Bloodsport strings.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're going to turn it into the tournament where they have to dip their gloves into glass like Tong Po and they have to have a final battle.
Like, what if Kreese kills Miguel's mom or some shit? I don't know. Fuck, I don't know.
I think that the best, you know, I don't, it depends on what they introduce into season 4. Obviously, at the end of season 3, Kreese is on the phone, which everybody assumes is Terry. They know that Terry's going to come back for season 4. I mean, whether they got to get the original actor, right? I've not seen that motherfucker do anything since John Carpenter's Vampires. I'm sure he's been in other things, but I haven't seen him do a lot.
Just give him some time to get in shape, you know?
The dude that plays Mike Barnes is in shape. That motherfucker looks like he hasn't aged day one. He is ready to go. He wants to be in the show. I'm sure he does. and he seems like such a nice guy, and he loves the lore of the Karate Kid. I think you got to get him in there somehow, and I think he knows it's going to happen. I think he's already been in contact or talks with the creators of Cobra Kai. He's already going to be in season 3 or season 4. Maybe the end of season 4, Mike Barnes comes in, because I think that Terry Silver will be like, hey, we need that guy. We need that guy to help us, give us the extra edge. Yeah. And Mike Barnes comes in as the third sensei or something. And I think that one of the coolest moments that could happen potentially in either season 4 or season 5 is the confrontation between Johnny and Mike Barnes, especially if Mike Barnes has technically taken, because we're led to assume that Kreese has taken Robby under his wing. But what if it's Mike Barnes? Because Mike Barnes is closer in age to Johnny, takes Robby under his wing.
And Robby's had enough fucking wings, dude. Robby has fucking had the Hooters All-Star Special amount of fucking wings. Like, I'm done with Robby finding new fucking wings.
Well, Kreese is like a 90-year-old man. So, I mean, I think that Mike Barnes fits more of the role of the father figure, though, because Johnny Lawrence and him are basically the same age.
I think that would be just like flipping the script too many goddamn times with Robby. I think in the next season, we need to see Robby fucking just go back to his dad and like solidify that. Let's get that storyline done. Let's get it out of the fucking way. That's what I'd like to see.
Edward Santiago says it correctly. It'll be Barnes versus Johnny final fight. I think that'll happen. I think that'll be the finale for not just the season, but probably Cobra Kai itself. Like, I think that when they have those two guys go against each other, because you can't throw. Daniel's already beaten Mike Barnes. He's already done it. He did it in Karate Kid Part 3.
Right.
I think that you have Johnny and Mike doing it at the end, not in sex, but in a fight. I think that you've got like that ends the series. Like, that's it.
I think you're right, man. Gets us a couple super chats here before we leave. Mercurio80 says Will Smith is an executive producer, so he might throw his kid in. That will be the death nail. That will be the death nail.
That reminds me of fucking Sal getting like that tattoo of Jaden Smith on his calf muscle because he lost the bet. Fuck that shit.
If Will Smith walks in and he's like, "Hey man, I think it's time to put Jaden in there," I hope that Johnny Lawrence walks in and he's like, "Quiet!" Like, fucking puts that stupid baby to bed right there.
Hadouken.
Wildman Beyond says, I want to see Chosen have a relationship with Johnny, since have him hang out with the OG Cobra gang, since him and Johnny had a grudge with Daniel. That would be cool. Even if it's like one scene where you have like a Falcon and the Winter Soldier type jokes going on there, like, yeah, he's a piece of shit, right? Yeah, high five. Yeah, that would be cool.
Dude, I would love, you know what? I don't know why, but what if Daniel had to match up against Johnny, Chosen, and Mike Barnes and have to do like a training exercise against all three? Like, maybe I'm not saying Mike Barnes would join his group, but I'm just saying, like, just in an off chance, that would be badass. Like, all the bad guys coming together versus Daniel. That would be cool as shit.
Yeah, dude, I'd be down. They could do nutty fucking shit with all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Wildman Beyond also says, I want Johnny and Mike Barnes to go at it to see who is the real better man in Cobra Kai. Mike Barnes, your Cobra Kai is a joke, Lawrence.
Dude, that guy was scary as fuck when he said that. And then he was eating Daniel's fucking salad when he said that. Like, he didn't just say that, he ate his food. And it's like, he goes, I'll fuck you up and I'll fuck your bitch up too. And I'll fuck up your little tree store. Sign the papers, Lawrence.
Sign the papers.
By the way, the best bad guy, Johnny is awesome. Best, hands down, bad guy, Mike Barnes. All the way through, mercenary type of fucking, that's him. Yeah. It's Mike Barnes, man. Intimidating as fuck.
I can't fucking wait for season 4, man. And apparently they're 80% done with the scripts. But they're going to start shooting before they're done with all the scripts. So I can't fucking wait to see what happens, man. Either way, as we said, Cobra Kai season 3 fucking continues to goddamn nail it. Amazing fucking season.